Welcome back. Turning now to the battle for who controls Congress, which could be determined by a battle over redistricting. The state in the spotlight right now, Virginia, where voters will be voting 1 month from today on a new map that could give Democrats an additional 4 House seats this November. But some Democrats warning that the state's redistricting referendum is, quote, not a done deal. Congressman Don Beyer telling NBC News, we have to effectively make the case that even though this seems unfair in Virginia, it's totally fair for America, for those of us who believe that taking back the House is the most significant thing we can do to stop Donald Trump. Democrats also worry that the timing of the special election on the referendum in April makes voter turnout unpredictable. That Virginia election is one of several April races that we will be watching, along with NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki, who joins me from the big board with more. Steve, what races will you be following most closely coming up?
Yeah, Monica, it's interesting. We've reached a lull in the primaries for the midterms, but we do have 4 elections coming up in April, different types of elections here. Special election for the House in Georgia on April 7th. Also a Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. A special election for Congress from New Jersey. That's the seat that Mikey Sherrill, now the governor, held. Her seat in the House will be filled in the middle of April. And then, as you mentioned, that Virginia redistricting amendment, that's going to be up April 21st. So not one of these is a primary, but 4 very interesting elections in the next few weeks.
And walk us through those April 7th elections that are going to take place in Georgia and Wisconsin. What are we watching for there?
Yeah, so the Georgia special election for the House here. Look, the Republicans should win this. This is a catastrophe for the Republicans if this thing were even close. It's a runoff, and you can see the 2 candidates who will be in the runoff. March 10th was the preliminary. The Democrat, Sean Harris, the Republican, Clay Fuller. Now, the Democrat, Harris, got more votes in the preliminary, but candidates from all parties ran on the same ballot. There were a lot more Republican candidates than Democratic candidates. Harris kind of consolidated the Democratic vote here. Fuller, there were more spread out Republican votes here. This is a district that Donald Trump won by 37 points in 2024. So this is the kind of district that Fuller certainly should win. Just going to be looking at what the margin is here, I think, here. Do the Democrats have an overperformance to brag about, or can Fuller win by a Trump-like margin in this district? Also on the same day will be that race for Supreme Court in Wisconsin. These types of races have gotten a lot of attention and a lot of money the last few years. This one, a little bit more low wattage. Why? Because the balance of the court is not up for grabs here. The liberals, ideologically, the liberals in Wisconsin have the majority. No matter what happens here, they'll keep that majority. But the question is, how big will it be? These elections, these court elections in Wisconsin, the Democratic-aligned candidates, the liberal candidates, have been doing very well in these recently. Why? Because turnout tends to be very low in these elections. And in Wisconsin, certainly, the Democrats in these elections have had a pronounced turnout advantage over the Republicans the last few years. They had one of these court races last year. Tens of millions of dollars were spent, and the Democratic-aligned candidate ended up winning by 11 points.
Steve, let's jump back up to New Jersey. What should we expect from that special election coming up on the 16th?
This is an interesting one because I told you Georgia was such a pro-Trump district, that Georgia House election. This is a Democratic district, but the Kamala Harris margin here was 9 points here. So this is the kind of district in the right environment Republicans can make competitive. Now, it's very difficult for Republicans in New Jersey with Donald Trump in the White House and with his approval rating low. We just saw that in the governor's race in New Jersey last November. It ended up being a landslide for Sherrill. This was, of course, Sherrill's old congressional district. But this is still a little interesting because the Democrats had a very crowded primary, and the candidate who won, Analyst Mejia, got less than 30% of the vote. She's ideologically pretty far left, AOC, Sanders-backed. It'd be interesting to see if the Republican here, a suburban mayor who has distanced himself from Trump, can make this a little more interesting than on paper it would be.
And the short time we have left, Steve, can we go back to that redistricting discussion, that referendum on the ballot in Virginia? What do the recent polls say about how voters there feel about it?
Interesting. You remember you had one in California last fall. Democrats put a referendum there, had to on the ballot. It passed easily. Virginia Democrats said, hey, let's do the same thing right here, try to gerrymander this. Here's what the first poll showed. Now, this is a couple weeks old right now, but look at this. Opposition to changing it, keeping the current map-making process the way it is, started out ahead in this race. So it is a blue state. Democrats were able to do this in California. They're trying to take that model and make it work in Virginia. They may have some work to do.
Steve Kornacki, thank you so much for all that data.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.